In the previous lecture we introduced some of the intricacies related to the solution of the Navier-Stokes equation, and we came across the situation where if we were interested to represent the pressure gradient term in terms of an integrated discretized term, then that created some problem. So, let us just quickly relook into the problem. So, if you had a pressure field like this, say at all points pressure is having a value, same value, say 10, and another case where you have alternating values of pressure, say 10 0 10 0 10 0 like that, say a wavy type of pressure profile. These two, we have shown that these two are interpreted in the same way. Why are these two interpreted in the same way? Because if you consider a grid point P with its neighboring grid points W and E, then integration of the corresponding pressure gradient term from small w to small e will be P small w minus P small e. For uniformly distributed grids, if we interpolate pressure at the faces in terms of the pressure at the control volume at the grid points corresponding to the main control volumes, then this is that is effect of PE gets eliminated, effect of PP gets eliminated. So, when effect of PP gets eliminated, if this happens to be the point P, then the flow here is flow through this control volume, flow across this control volume is driven by the differences of these two pressures, which is sort of erroneous because it does not demarcate the situations represented in the upper figure and in the lower figure. In one case there is no pressure gradient, in another case there is a pressure gradient in the flow, but this discretization does not capture that pressure gradient. So, it is a fault. We have also shown by example that the discretization of the continuity equation also shows a similar discrepancy. Now, how to get rid of this discrepancy? To understand that, we have to understand that what is the primary origin of this discrepancy. The primary origin of this discrepancy is as follows: you have a first order derivative term, you are having to discretize this first order derivative term by integrating it over the control volume, and there you are having values of the variable, here the variable is pressure, in the continuity equation it may be the velocity, whatever may be the variable, that particular variable is appearing at the control volume phase at which you do not have the values defined, you have the values defined at the grid points capital P, capital E, capital W like that, because at these points small e and small w these are not explicitly defined these need to be defined through interpolation, and that interpolation has created the problem. So, as a remedy one could suggest that, well, let us consider a situation where you do not have to interpolate these variables. That means the flow is driven by this pressure difference, and the pressure difference itself is the pressure difference between two grid points where pressure is defined. So, let us consider that this is a grid point where pressure is defined, this is a grid point where pressure is defined. So, instead of P small w minus P small e this type of an expression, if you have P capital P minus P capital E this type of an expression, then velocity at the point small velocity at the location of small e is governed by physically the pressure difference between capital P and capital E. So, it also is intuitively physical that velocity at a particular phase is governed by the pressure difference between the neighboring grid points, and in that case you do not have to interpolate the values of the variables of pressure, because you are considering pressure at the respective grid points where they are originally defined. But then when you consider pressures at these locations, you are no more considering velocities at those locations, but you are considering velocities at a shifted location. So, you are now considering a different grid point choice for velocities and for pressure or any other scalar. So, effectively what you are doing, you had a original control volume which was your main control volume like this. Now, for velocity what you are doing, you are shifting this control volume. So, what becomes the velocity control volume? This becomes the control volume for velocity, where the velocity is defined now not at the main grid points originally. Of course, at the main grid points you can find out the velocity by interpolation, but fundamentally those are defined at the interfaces of the main grid points, which are the grid points corresponding to the velocity evaluation. So, we have now some new grid points and these are demarcated in a way that you have some grid points for velocity calculation and some grid points for pressure or other scalar calculation. The grid point for the velocity calculation happens to be oriented along the interface line of the main control volume. So, in a way if you consider this as the grid point for velocity, then the grid point for velocity is shifted from the main grid point. Okay. This is called as staggered grid. So, in this particular figure, this blue colored control volume is called as main control volume, and the control volume shown in the red color, that is called as staggered control volume. So, the staggered control volume is staggered with respect to the main control volume for calculation of velocity. So, why do you require a staggered grid? You can employ a staggered grid with the objective that once you have a velocity at small e that is directly driven by the pressure difference between P at capital P and the P at capital E. So, you do not have to interpolate the pressure gradient term, because you directly have the information of pressure at P and pressure at E. How, that we will see, but once you have the information at the main grid points, that is good enough to consider the for the momentum equation for the small e point. So, this is, so you can see that the staggered control volume is shifted with respect to the main control volume or staggered with respect to the main control volume. For x momentum it is shifted along x, for y momentum it is shifted along y. So, let us just consider a general profile to show that how can you consider the layout of a staggered control volume. Say these are the main control volumes. So, this is P, this is E, just for example W, N, S, small e, small w, small n, small s. So, what is the main control volume? The main control volume is this one for the point P. What is the staggered control volume? The staggered control volume is this one for u, for x component of velocity. Carefully observe that when you have a staggered control volume, for x momentum equation it is staggered only along x, but it is not staggered along y. Along y its boundaries are coincident with the original control volume or main control volume. Now if you want to have a staggered control volume for the y direction, so this is the staggered control volume for evaluation of Vn, velocity at small n. So you can see that for y momentum equation the control volume is now staggered along y but not staggered along x. So staggered, in staggered grid control volume is not simultaneously staggered along x and y, depending on which momentum equation it is, whether it is x or y or even the other z direction, whatever is the direction in which you are solving the velocity component, in that direction only you are having the stagger or shift in the control volume. Okay. So this is like the standard architecture of a staggered control volume. Now the advantage we have seen, that what is the advantage associated with the staggered control volume, that you need not interpolate the pressure at the control volume faces anymore, because you can directly use the values of the pressure at the main grid point. So with the staggered grid point arrangement you calculate only velocities at the staggered grid points, but for other values of the scalars like pressure or maybe temperature or any other variable, for that you refer to the main grid point only. So you have to use two types of control volumes, that is one of the limitations, that is you have to have a bookmarking or accounting of two different types of data sets, one data set for the layout of the main control volume, another data set for the layout of the staggered control volume. So extra bookkeeping is necessary, which, and it is significantly extra because the main and the staggered control volumes are having their grid points and their dimensions, all those things are different. So you have to account for them separately and use them for different purposes, staggered control volume for solution of the momentum equations and main control volume for solution of the other equations. Okay. Now originally when these methods of solution of fluid flow equations were developed, the main control volumes were creating problems and for the velocity calculation, and that is why the staggered control volumes came into the picture, and all those were invoked by considering such a structured nature of the grid layout. That means you have the grid faces or the grid lines oriented either along x or along y, or if in a 3-dimensional problem along z. So in such a situation you can represent any one of the grid points or control volume face centroids as in terms of index, two indices for a 2-dimensional problem I and j, 3 indices for a 3-dimensional problem I, j and k, where I may be for orientation along x, j may be along y and k may be along z. So if you have such a structured layout of the grid system, then it is known as a structured mesh. For solving problems involving complicated geometry, it is not always convenient to use a structured mesh, because that may not be able to represent the domain boundaries properly, and many real life industrial problems have complicated geometries. For example, many complicated molds in a casting problem. So if you have a mold filling in a complicated shaped mold, so for that the boundary of the domain may be of complicated shape. So it is therefore not a must that you have to use such a structured system. In fact, in these days for most of the problems where complicated geometries are involved, we use unstructured grid systems, later on in we will briefly look into that how to discretize the equations for unstructured meshes. Till now we have used the discretization for structured meshes. Now if you have unstructured meshes, we will go into that in more details later on, but unstructured meshes do not have a preferential orientation of grid lines along x, y or z. Therefore staggering in a particular direction has no meaning for unstructured meshes. Not only that, we have seen here that even in a structured mesh the problem with the interpolation is because of using a very simple linear interpolation for pressure. So maybe this problem could be avoided if we had used a more complicated interpolation scheme for pressure. So the whole idea is that not to develop a prejudice that the staggered grid is a must. The staggered grid is one of the elegant ways of getting rid of the problem with this interpolation, but alternatively one could avoid staggered gridding with an understanding that staggering requires extra bit of accounting, and for unstructured mesh staggering does not have any particular relevance. So staggering could be avoided. At that cost one could have a special pressure interpolation scheme so that this type of problem does not arise at the interface. So in fact there are many such schemes where you do not use staggered grids, but you use the same grid point for calculation of velocity and pressure, but you just use special interpolation techniques for interpolating pressure at the faces of the main control volumes. So in such cases the layout is known as collocated grid. So this is staggered grid. Staggered grid means the grids for the velocity calculation and calculation of other scalar variables, they are staggered with respect to each other, whereas collocated grids means that co-located, that means the grids for velocity and pressure are located at the same location. So you have the possibility of having collocated grid increasingly more when there is no particular physical meaning of staggering such as in unstructured meshes, and many different CFD softwares have provisions of both using staggered grid as well as collocated grid. Interestingly, the basic philosophy of solution of fluid flow does not change if you go from a staggered grid paradigm to a collocated grid paradigm, only some finer issues like some interpolation schemes, these types of things change. So it may be convenient to describe the fluid flow algorithms, fluid flow solution algorithms by either using staggered grid or collocated grid. For understanding, for simplicity in understanding, we will use the staggered grid for demonstrating the various fluid flow solution algorithms, but keep in mind that it is not absolutely a must to use staggered grid, and one can also use collocated grid and still implement analogous algorithms for solving fluid flow problems. So why staggered grid, it is clear, staggered grid is not a must, that is also clear, and if we use staggered grid, what are the costs that we have to pay and what are the advantages that we get in expense of that, these are certain things that we have discussed. Now till now we have bothered so much about representation of the pressure gradient term, but we have not yet got a clue of where from to get the value of pressure. This is a very critical bothering on us because you do not have a separate governing equation explicitly for pressure, although pressure happens to be a dependent variable that you need to solve. So where from you get the pressure. So in an iterative environment, whenever we do not know something, we make a guess. So let us say that in the momentum equations, at least if we do not know the pressure, we guess the value of pressure. If we guess the value of pressure, then in the momentum equation the only unknowns remain to be the velocities, and those velocities may be solved. So let us try to form a strategy. The strategy that we will be outlining is broadly known as simple algorithm or semi implicit method for pressure linked equations. So, we will go through steps to develop the algorithm. First, let us try to understand the philosophy of this algorithm. So, if you consider the momentum equation, remember the momentum equation is just like a convection diffusion equation with the pressure gradient as a source term. Let us say that we are interested to solve the momentum equation with respect to a staggered control volume. So, this is E, this is P, this is capital E. So, if you write the corresponding discretized equation, the discretized equation without the pressure gradient source term would have been AE UE. Now, the grid point where you are interested to solve for the velocity is x momentum equation, the corresponding velocity that you are interested to solve is u. So, AE UE is equal to sigma ANB UNB plus B. This would have been the case without any pressure gradient term. This B represents a source term different from pressure gradient term. So, this can represent any other body force. Now, what are these UNBs? UNBs are the corresponding staggered grid point locations in the neighbors. Okay. So, these are also coincident with the faces of some other main control volumes in the neighboring locations. Now, this plus, now you will have to have the effect of pressure gradient. So, you have minus pressure gradient term along x, that is the body force term per unit volume in the x momentum equation. So, what you have to do? You have to integrate this with respect to the control volume, and once you integrate it with respect to the control volume, what you will get? You will get a term in this form. So, if you integrate it with respect to first say x, so what you will get? You will get Pp minus Pe. Now, that again you integrate with respect to y. So, in a way this AE represents what? It represents the delta y times, if it is a 3 dimensional problem. Now, we will try to solve a 3 dimensional problem. So, over this course we have solved many 1 dimensional problems, maybe a few 2 dimensional problems. Now, it is a good time to introduce the concept through a 3 dimensional problem, which is the most general fluid flow problem that we can think of. So, if you have a 3 dimensional problem, you are integrating it with respect to y and z. So, this will become this one. So, delta y into delta z is nothing but the area of the face across which the fluid flow is taking place. So, generically we call this as AE. So, we can write UV is equal to sigma ANB UNB plus B by AE plus this one. Okay. So, this we give a name D with subscript small e. These are sort of universal nomenclatures given in all books. So, I am trying to follow the same nomenclature as that in given in any of the textbooks, so that you can follow it from the books also. Now, you have the momentum equation which you are ready to solve, provided you know what is pressure. So, what you do is, if you do not know pressure, you guess the value of pressure. Of course, you do not know what is the value of pressure in a general problem until and unless you have a specific case where it is a pressure driven fully developed flow. Those types of cases are not general ones. In general case, you do not know what is the value of pressure. So, you guess the value of pressure. So, when you guess the value of pressure, you call this as P star. So, that means you know what is PP star, PE star, etc. Based on the values of PP star and PE star, if you substitute it here, you can solve the momentum equation, because now you have only velocities, but that will not be the correct velocity, because the pressure itself is there which is substituted is not correct. So, it will give some approximate velocity. So, based on P star, solve for UE, solve for U star, V star, W star from the momentum equations. So, this basically solve for U V W, that U we call as U star, V we call as V star, and W we call as W star. So, if you are interested to write the corresponding Y momentum equation, just by looking into the analogy you can write what will be this one, Un or sorry Vn is equal to sigma AnB Vnb plus B by An, plus it will be An by Dn, sorry An by small a n into Pp minus Pn. The corresponding control volume will look like this, where this is Vn, this is P, this is N. Similarly, it is a 3-dimensional problem, so the layout is like this: east, west, north, south, and then in the third direction top and bottom. So, the other momentum equation, what will be this? Wt is equal to sigma Anb Wnb, where u, v, w are the components of velocity along x, y and z, plus b by At plus A t by A small t Pp minus Pt. So, you can see that the equations are structured in the same way. So, if we consider any one, that will give us enough idea of how to deal with the others. That is why the one dimensional problems are so important. If you look into it very carefully, you will see that in a structured system, it is not true for unstructured system, but in a structured system, if you have a control volume phase, no matter whether the control volume is 2 dimensional, 3 dimensional, whatever, across the phase locally the flux is 1 dimensional. That is how the structured control volumes are oriented, and that is why we can easily extend 1 dimensional formulation to 2 dimensions and 3 dimensions. The same does not hold for unstructured mesh, for which separate considerations are necessary. Now, let us come back to this solution of u, v and w. So, we get u star, v star and w star. Now, this u star, v star and w star are not correct velocities. So, they need to be corrected. So, if you consider AE UE star, that will satisfy this particular equation with P equal to P star, right. So, AE UE star is equal to sigma ANB UNB star plus B plus AE into PP star minus PE star. Where the star is not the correct solution, and this is supposed to be the correct solution if P is correct. So, if you subtract these two, what you get? You get AE into UV minus UV star is equal to sigma ANB UNB minus UNB star plus AE into PP minus PP star minus PE minus PE star. This we call as U minus U star, we call this as U dash, which is in words called as velocity correction. So, this is the correction of velocity to bring the accurate velocity, inaccurate velocity to the accurate velocity. So, UV star is the inaccurate one and UV is the correct one. UV prime is the correction necessary to bring the inaccurate one to the correct one. This is similarly UNB prime. This is PP prime, this is PE prime. Remember, the pressures were also guessed. So, the pressures were not the correct values. So, you have the difference of these, the inaccurate and the actual pressure is termed as the pressure correction. So, U dash is the velocity correction and P dash is the pressure correction. Velocity correction for U and P dash is pressure correction. Now, what you can see from here, so let us try to understand the physics of this equation. So, this equation says that the velocity correction at a point is a combined effect of the correction of velocity at the neighboring points plus correction of velocity, correction of pressure at the neighboring points. Okay. Now in the simple algorithm what is done, this particular term is omitted. Now you can readily ask that if you omit a term in an equation, the equation becomes inaccurate, right. But then even after omitting this, how do you expect the solution to converge? See, the rationale behind this is like this. The velocity correction at a point is burdened by two things. One is the velocity correction at the neighboring points, another is the pressure correction at the neighboring points. So if you do not consider the velocity correction at the neighboring points and still you can achieve the same correction, that is possible provided the pressure correction takes the sole burden of even making up for omission of this one. So it is like some x equal to y plus z. Now y is no more there, so z is itself becoming z plus y to make up for this effect. So let us say that there are two friends in a particular group and there is an assignment which is given where the group students has to solve. Now as usual one of the friends will do the whole work, the other friend will sleep, and this is what is very common, but at the end they show a group assignment, right, and maybe the person who has not done anything is smart enough to present it in such a way that people will believe that he or she has only done it. But in general there will be some lazy persons who have not done it. So this is that lazy, extreme lazy. Now this is a poor guy who takes all the burden of this correction, who takes all the burden of working for the assignment. Now in doing so what happens is that this guy becomes fatigued. So this guy tends to over express himself to solve the problem, is trying to go beyond it, his own capacity to solve the problem, is going beyond the time limit or whatever available in the day to solve the problem because the other one is not giving a helping hand. So in this way what happens is that here also this has to be achieved, this term is not contributing anything, this term is contributing. In this way the velocity correction is achieved but the pressure correction is exaggerated, the pressure correction is over expressed. So the pressure correction that comes out of it is not a very accurate one, it is many times over expression of whatever it would have been if this term was already considered. But this term is not considered to keep the framework in a particular form in which we have solved all the discretized equations, that we will see later on. So there is an objective of dropping this term. If you do not drop this term, the equation becomes implicit because the velocity correction cannot be explicitly expressed in terms of the pressure correction. Then the velocity correction is explicitly expressed in terms of the neighboring velocity corrections and the pressure correction. But still the velocity correction at a point has some implicit dependence on the velocity correction at the neighboring points. How? The velocity correction is dependent on the pressure correction at the neighboring points, and once pressure correction is there at the neighboring points, that will incur a velocity correction. So that is why this is called semi implicit. Remember it has, so semi implicit method for pressure linked equations. So we have first seen that what is the origin of this semi implicit method. Remember this has nothing to do with the time implicit, explicit or Crank-Nicolson method that we have considered. So this implicit or explicit or semi implicit nature has nothing to do with time discretization. So just clarify this concept. The other part is pressure linked equation. So how, which equations are pressure linked, that we will now come to that stage. So before that, once this term is omitted, how you can write this equation? You can write AE UE prime is equal to AE into PP prime minus PE prime. So UE prime is equal to dE into Pp prime minus Pe prime. So, you have u nu is equal to ue nu is equal to ue star plus ue prime, that is ue star plus dE into Pp prime minus Pe prime. Okay. So, in this way you can, so let us omit this subscript nu, because in iteration anything which is calculated recently is the new one. So, let us not explicitly write it as new. Similarly, you have Vn is equal to Vn star plus Dn into Pp prime minus Pn prime, Wt is equal to Wt star plus dt into Pp prime minus Pt prime, like this. So, these are called as velocity correction formula. Still in this formula you do not know what are the pressure corrections. If you know what are the pressure corrections, you can implement this formula. So, that golden question remains, that where from you get that pressure correction. Now, the understanding is that we can get the pressure correction from this consideration, that no matter whatever is the velocity field that we get out of this correction, we expect that that should satisfy the continuity equation. So, during the iterations the velocity fields should evolve in a manner with an attempt or effort to satisfy the continuity equation. So, we should try to get a pressure field which again confers to a continuity satisfying velocity field. So, the pressure field should be corrected in a way such that the velocity field satisfies the continuity equation. So, the continuity equation acts like a governing equation for correction of pressure. So, that is how the continuity equation is utilized, and it gives us the answer to the question that we do not have an explicit governing equation for pressure, but where from we update pressure. It is the continuity equation which we take equivalently as an equation that governs us the variation of pressure during iterations. So, let us now consider the continuity equation. This is the general continuity equation. So, let us now integrate the continuity equation. The first question that you give an answer to is this: once we integrate this equation, we integrate this equation over a control volume, that is the finite volume method. We integrate it with respect to which control volume, main control volume or staggered control volume? Main or staggered? It is not staggered. Why? Because the objective of using this equation to solve for the pressure correction, not for the velocity. So, you are not going to solve for the velocity from this equation, but you are going to solve for pressure correction, which is a correction in pressure which is a scalar. So, other than velocities, whatever you solve for that the reference control volume is the main control volume. So, you integrate the continuity equation with respect to the main control volume, not the staggered control volume. So, this is the main control volume, you integrate this with respect to the main control volume. So, let us complete that integration. Now there are 4 integrations for x, y, z and time. Plus the last term. So let us put the limits of integration from time t to t plus delta t, x small w to small e, y small s to small n and z bottom to top, small b to small t. So do not confuse the time t with the top t, incidentally they are the same symbols, but we are running out of symbols. So let us of course it is clear that these are not the same. So let us now integrate these ones. First this term, what is the profile assumption that we can take? Piecewise constant, so rho p minus rho p naught, that multiplied by delta x, delta y, delta z plus, then let us consider this as the first integration. So rho u e minus rho u w, so rho u e minus rho u w into delta y delta z delta t plus rho v n minus rho v s delta x delta z delta t plus rho w t minus rho w b delta x delta y delta t equal to 0. We can divide all the terms by delta t as we commonly do for the time dependent problems. And then what will be the next step? Next step will be to substitute the velocity correction formulas in this expression. So in place of u v we will substitute u v star plus d e into p p dash minus p e dash. What will be the corresponding u w? So this is w this is capital W, this is UW. So, it will be UW star plus DW into PW prime minus PP prime. So, in the flow direction from the left to the right the flow is occurring. So, it is a pressure difference between W and P. Other terms will be similar, let us just write for one term and we can extend it easily for the other terms. So, if you do that you will get an equation in the form APPP dash is equal to AEPE dash plus AWPW dash plus ANPN dash plus ASPS dash plus ATPT dash plus ABPB dash plus B. So, let us write what is AE from here. What will be AE? Which term will contribute to AE? Only the coefficient for this one. So, rho E dE delta Y delta Z. What is AW? Rho W dW delta Y delta Z. Now, if you know these two you can write all of the 4 other coefficients. So, AN rho n dN multiplied by what? See, A's are x direction, so they are multiplied by delta y into delta z. This is y direction, so delta x delta z. AB is equal to rho B dB into delta x delta y. AT is rho T dt delta x delta y. Then what is B? So, you can see that this is taken in the other side to make it positive, right. It was minus rho E d like this. So, it was taken to the other side. So, this term will also have to be taken to the other side to make it as a part of B. So, rho P naught minus rho P delta x delta y delta z by delta t. Then the contributions of U stars will come plus rho W U W star minus rho E U V star into delta y delta z plus rho S V S star minus rho n V n star delta x delta z plus rho B W B star minus rho T W T star delta x delta y. So, this equation is called as the pressure correction equation, which is actually derived from the continuity equation. So, in the pressure correction equation you are having a source term. What is this source term? You can clearly see that rho u w star minus rho u e star is like that into delta y into delta z is the net flow rate in minus out along x. Similarly, this is net flow rate in minus out along y, this is net flow rate in minus out along z. So, this the last 3 terms in B are sum totals of the rate of flow in minus flow out, and this is the rate of change of mass inside the control volume. So, the B expression is nothing but a measure of the satisfaction of the conservation of mass. So, if the mass conservation within the control volume is satisfied, then what will happen? If mass conservation in the control volume is satisfied, B will be equal to 0, and once B is equal to 0, all the pressure corrections will be trivially equal to 0. Okay. So, pressure correction equation is also an implicit indicator of satisfaction of mass conservation, and that is indeed the case because we have derived it through the continuity equation. So, once you have this pressure correction equation, next you can use this pressure correction equation to correct pressure. P star plus P prime. Okay. So, what you can see here is that now you can iterate on this. You started with an initial guess for pressure, now you have an updated value of pressure. With this updated value of pressure, you again solve for momentum equation and go through this route till you find out a converged solution, that is till the pressure correction is equal to 0. So, let us summarize the simple algorithm. Summary of simple algorithm. Step 1 is guess pressure P star. Then once you guess pressure, then you solve for momentum equation. So, what you get is u star v star w star. Then you need to correct the velocities. So, what you need for that? You need for that the pressure correction equation. So, solve for pressure correction equation. Then using step 3, you solve for, you update velocity. U V W. Remember U is equal to U V star plus D into P P dash minus P dash. So, once you know P dash, you can update U. Then correct P as P star plus P dash, then go to step 1 and iterate till convergence. So, we have learned this algorithm. This is a very commonly used algorithm for solving fluid flow problems. In the next class, we will try to make a bit of a more assessment of this algorithm, try to go for an improved version of this and work out some examples on these algorithms. That we will do in the next class. Thank you.